What is it that people are saying? Nobody's telling this story. What are the important stories that we're not hearing?
Well, first and foremost, what people just leave out of the narrative is that this is almost like a theater. It's a performance, not for the people who are living it, because they're pawns. It's a theater for the cartels. Yes, they make an enormous amount of money out of all the people that cross because they take most of the smuggling fees. They don't run the smuggling operations. They're way too smart for that. They have professional human smuggling operations, human trafficking organizations that are global who do the smuggling for them. But they pay an enormous amount of what they earn. They pay that to the cartels. The Mexican cartels decide who crosses, where they cross, when they cross. And so if you imagine you're a pilot and you can see the whole border from the air, that's really how the cartels operate. It's divided up into the three main cartels now, the Sinaloa cartel, the Gulf cartel, and what used to be called the Zetas. That's now Cartel del Nostre. But those are the three main cartels that control the traffic. And the reason you have people coming in all these difficult places, one of the reasons, a big reason, is that the cartels know if they split the resources of Border Patrol, if you've got a group of 5 people or a group of 10 people and they all run in different directions, how many agents does it now take to stop them? So that's exactly what they're doing. They're splitting the resources. Pilots have described to me, for example, in parts of the border, seeing groups of anywhere between 50 and 200 crossing at exactly the same time at the crossing points, sort of, 100 yards from each other, right? So imagine in 5 different places separated by 100 yards, and you have hundreds of people. So what does that do? In one tiny little town on the border in Texas, on the Rio Grande Valley, they have Border Patrol facilities that are built to house a maximum of 116 people. Last weekend, they had over 1,100. Over 1,100 in one weekend, and they have people every single day. And that's just one weekend. This has been going on for months and months and months. So in these places where people get, people get told all the time, Texans, for example, Texans are a bunch of racist rednecks, right? And Texans don't care about people. Look, they don't recognize the children of illegal immigrants born in this country. Look at all the evil things people in Texas do. They put illegal immigrants under bridges in terrible weather to suffer. Well, literally, you've got Border Patrol agents looking at me with desperation saying, we don't know where else to put people. You've got churches in El Paso who the NGOs have run out of capacity, right? The NGOs that come from New York and other parts of the country that like to do interviews in the paper sometimes about everything they're doing down on the border, except they've run out of capacity. And it's the local people in many of these places who are trying to to help in some ways. And the other, there's another really important thing that gets left out of the narrative, which is that the large majority of Border Patrol agents are Hispanic Americans or Mexican Americans or whatever you want to call them. They're not, it's not just these evil white men who are trying to stop people coming into this country. It's not that at all. In fact, it's much more complex. And in some of these towns, the vast majority of the people who live there are Hispanic American. And Texas itself has a history that's very much wrapped up in Mexico. And the first president of Texas was Mexican. And when you look at the history here, these 2 people, I'm not painting a picture of nirvana. There's always issues between people, but it's very different to what people say it is from a distance. The reality is not much like that at all. And I have yet to meet anyone who wants these people to suffer or who is deliberately cruel to people. And, my experience is limited to my experience, But
I will tell you this. When you say these people are pawns, they are. They're being, I feel horrible for them because if in some cases, not all cases, but in many cases, I think if I were on the other side of the border and I saw that America really didn't care about its borders and they were going to give away free citizenship and I could get my family there and my family doesn't, we're living in a town that maybe has violence, but doesn't have any real chance for my kids, you're damn right I'd be over here. I would absolutely do it because I would think that America didn't really care and they were offering citizenship. So take that chance for my children to be able to have a better life. Those people are being preyed on by all these different groups that have all different agendas, including the drug cartels that are holding back some family members and saying, look, we're going to sell you this and we'll bring them over. You do us a favor, we'll do you a favor, and then we'll send your relative over. And I mean, we're importing people and enslaving people to some of these drug cartels.